What up, y'all? It's Season Love, SENLUV, that's who I be, and welcome to another episode of the Money Healing Monologues. Over here at the Money Healing Monologues, I like to open up a space to speak about the development of Black wealth, health, and excellence. So, join me every single Monday where I like to reiterate, reteach, and dissect some shit that I just think us as a Black community should speak about. And of course, the purpose of this is to open up a conversation. So please feel free to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if I ruffled some feathers, whatever the case may be, comment down below and let me know what's tea. So today, of episode 29 of the Money Healing Monologues, I am going to be speaking about energy exchanges. Now, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Energy exchanges as far as how we as people interact with each other. And as you know, and if you don't, I like to go down who, what, where, when, why, and how format. And the how will always be a question that is down below in the description box if you're listening in on YouTube, and in the question box if you're listening in on Spotify, Anchor, or Apple Podcasts. So starting me off with my who, I asked, who does this affect? And I said everyone because of socialism. We all have to interact with each other whether we like it or not, in order to get our goods, at any local store or any store in general, honestly. Getting on the bus, the train, public transportation, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all have to interact with each other on a day-to-day basis whether we like it or not. So energy exchanges are bound to happen. Bring me into my what, I asked, what does our energy exchanges show? And in my opinion, right now, in this present moment, in the state of the world right now, the energy exchanges that we all have as people, or I want to say the majority of people, are selfish, greedy, and manipulative. Like, I think that that's just an innate feature that most human beings today have. We have this very hyper individualistic mentality, especially when it comes to each other. Like, and then we have to interact with each other because of socialism. We all have something to gain from our interactions, or if we don't see what we can gain from the situation or person, then there's like, this underlying, I feel like, I don't know, there's this really, 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 really strong collective sense of selfishness, greed, manipulation because of how this society was bred. And then that brings me into my where, asking where did this come from? And I said that this energy came from colonization. Like, I feel like the whole concept of colonization in general is selfish, greedy, and manipulative. And because that's how our society was bred, that's the type of energy that I feel like us as the people of this colonized nation just have with each other. I personally feel like we're very selfish towards one another. I feel like a lot of people lack a very, 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 very deep sense of empathy. And that's dead terrifying because it's like socialism is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we have to interact with each other. So the nature of being selfish is truly like, I don't know. Of course, in my opinion, I think it's uncalled for, but it's also something that is deeply, deeply, deeply embedded in the society that we have become accustomed to. Moving me into my when, I asked, when did this get integrated into our collective lifestyle? And my answer to that was the evolution of humans from how we've came to interact with each other. I can't give you a history lesson right now on how people used to interact with each other on a day-to-day basis back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there, so I don't really have those type of facts. But what I can interpret from the world's energy right now in this present moment, one can see and one can assume through the evolution of humans and how much we just evolved and grown as a society. And of course, when I'm talking about society and when I say us, I'm specifically talking from a Black person's perspective in America, because that's where I am, that's what I am, that's just my experience. When we think about society's evolution, we can see how discrimination didn't stop when slavery ended. You know what I'm saying? Like, the world got used to having people at their will. You know what I'm saying? Like, the world got used to taking and wiping out nations in order to get their own personal gain from their land or their resources. You know what I'm saying? People have deemed that and seen that as normal. You know what I mean? From both sides, from the colonizers, from them, like, actually whipping us, they justified that. And then I feel like on the other side, us black people, we didn't really, I don't think we justified it. I think we had to submit to it in order to survive the times that we survived. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, there's still black people everywhere, so that didn't do a good job of stopping us. This got integrated into our society, especially after slavery, because there was still so much discrimination, and instead of people realizing and acknowledging, like, hey, okay, slavery was kind of OD, that was kind of a bit much, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro, in turn started treating people better. Discrimination was still strong as fuck after slavery. You know what I'm saying? They still disregarded people as humans after that. And I feel like that's just translated to today in modern society in a more modern way. You know what I'm saying? It's more covered up. It's more, it's more integrated, so we can't really see it at times. And a lot of people that don't experience it can't see it. And then finally, my why. I asked, why should we talk about it? Why is this important? My answer was because this is how we shift collective consciousness. Now, I definitely spoke a lot about collective consciousness in this segment. But just to reiterate again, there are things called social constructs, and these social constructs are beliefs that are held up by majority of, I want to say, the individuals that live maybe in this specific area or just in the specific lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Now, because we all give our energy to believing in this idea, in this construct, it in turn gives it energy and allows it to manifest itself in the physical reality. For instance, money is a social construct, in my opinion. Race is a social construct, in my opinion. Saying that if everybody stopped believing in these things, it would cease to exist. So that's what I mean by collective consciousness. Like, if we all were more intentional with our energy towards each other and how we exchange energy towards each other, we would breed a more softer, nicer, and positive society. And I feel like that would just, it will literally change the world, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because it genuinely starts with every single individual just literally shifting their mindsets and shifting the way that they speak to people. And now my how, which is a question that will always be in the description box if you're listening in on YouTube, and in the question box if you're listening in on Spotify, Anchor, or Apple Podcast. My question for this week is, how do you intentionally or unintentionally interact with the people that are around you? I think that for a long time, when my ego ruled my life, I would definitely be reacting and just interacting with people in a more unintentional way, because the way that I was brought up, it was just an energy of like, my mom was a know-it-all. My mom is a know-it-all. She very much thinks that, she has all the answers, and I grew up, really, 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 really just craving her validation. You know what I'm saying? So I think that translated into me kind of feeling like I knew it all too. You know what I mean? Because I also had this rebellious nature to me. And though I subconsciously wanted her approval, that still manifested for me in my life as this rebellious child, doing the complete opposite of what people told me to do, and not really doing the things that I did not want to do, like math. I didn't want to do that shit, so I didn't do it. I'm weak. But that just goes more and more and more to show how unintentional I was with interacting with my own family, with my own friends, and just teachers and people that were in my life at that time. And now growing into the individual that I am today, I would say that I am 100% way more intentional with every single aspect of my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm way more patient, and I'm more receptive to the intuitive guidance that is not only in my physical reality, but also in my spiritual reality, in my subconscious reality. You know what I'm saying? Like in the energetic field, I'm just more intentional with everything. I pay attention to everything so much more than I did before, simply because I have come to learn that that's just how I live a prosperous life. That's how I live a comfortable life. So yeah, that's just my experience. But I would really love to hear your perspective down below in the comments. But on that note, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Money Healing Monologues. I really hope you appreciated this, because I appreciate you for tuning in and listening and hearing my perspective. I'm really grateful. I hope you learned something. I hope this fed your mind in any positive way that goes towards your personal highest good. But yeah, don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the podcast, comment your thoughts below, interact, because I'm here for you and I support you and I love you. So I'm gonna see you guys next week, alright?